Okay, I want to show you this real quick. This is the 92 Silverado we've done videos on in the past. What I'm doing, or what I'm going to show you, I already did the job. It was kind of difficult to do on camera and do the job at the same time, so I'm just going to explain it. Basically, I had to change the heater core in this 92 Silverado. First thing you want to do is these lines right here going in the firewall. They hook directly into the heater core. You want to take those off. There's just two simple hose clamps on them, so it's not too difficult, but you have to do that first, okay? The next thing, and more difficult thing you got to do, is take this plastic cover off. There's one of the screws right there. Try and get a better light. There we go. It's one of the screws right there. There's 6 of them. There's one here, one in the back, which is kind of hard to get to, but there's one off right here. One in the very back in the middle. Then there's 2 on this side. You can kind of see the one, if I get the camera in there. Right there. Right up in there. Then there's another one kind of, I don't know, 2-3 inches off to the left, this direction. Back in there. And it's up about 2 or maybe 3 inches up in there, and it's very difficult to get to. It's a pain in the rear end, just be honest with you. I think there's another one in the middle in the back. It's very hard to get to as well. But the heater, once you do that, this drops off. This whole, you see where the seam is here? That'll drop off. Let me see if I can. There we go. Focus a little better. Alright, once you have that off, that'll come off. You got to slide this end back in here where my flashlight is, slide it down this way to get it out. Now, getting it out, the only thing there is one screw like these here, up in here with a clip that holds it on. Once you unscrew that, you can move that, turn that clip to either side, and this heater core will drop right out, real easy. The hard part is, if you do not buy a heater core from GM, and you buy an off-brand from AutoZone, O'Reilly's, whatever, you will have one hell of a time getting it in, and getting it, well, not getting it out, hopefully, but just getting it in. Much unlike taking it out, where you just move that clip and it drops, you have to set it on this as you're pushing this up. Let that heater core sit on it. Push it up to about, I don't know, not even an inch, a half an inch from the very top of the seam, and then get a screwdriver in there, slide it up and the clip over at the same time, because it will not fit. If you try to put the clip on and hold it up there with a clip like you took the old one out, it will not work. You will not be able to get. See if I can get back in here. I don't know if you can see this. I can't really see it, but this cover, if you get that off-brand, it will not fit up there that way. You have to put it in. Just leave it sit on this cover, and then push everything up at once at the same time, if that makes sense. Okay, because if you try to put the heater core in and then hook the clip and then put this cover back on, it'll get stuck back in here, right back in here on the carpet, trying to get that back in there. There's a corner back in there where it kind of comes over this way, and it goes that direction. The heater core is too wide. The off-brand is too wide for that to fit up in there. So you have to have it loose, sitting down in this to get it up on, if that makes sense. I hope I explained that good. Because my thing is, I'm sure the heater core from GM is $100 plus. The one from AutoZone I got after tax is like $55. The Duralast brand. I think it does have a lifetime warranty, but I tell you what, it's not worth it trying to do this. If you have the money, get the GM one, because this is a pain in the rear end, and it's going to frustrate you if you don't have the right parts. or they don't fit right. So that's the biggest issue, getting it in. Now, you could either take my advice, or you can be like me and don't really have the money. So you got to do what you got to do. So I had to, it took me, I'm guessing probably, I'm wanting to say an hour to do this, just to get it up in, just to do the trial and error, to figure out how to get that up in there without, number one, without breaking it, and number two, just to get it to fit up in there. So, but when you put this new heater core in, you want to hook the line, have somebody hold it here with this plastic cover off, hold the heater core itself up in there, and then you put the lines on and put the hose clamps on. Then you want to put this plastic cover back on. Because if you don't, it's going to roll around and, everywhere. So the hoses kind of help you out when you put it in. It kind of holds in a general area. So, but, I mean, it's pretty simple. But when you get down to it, if you buy the off-brand, you better figure on having some time to get it up in there. That's why I'm making this video, because I want to help people out doing this. Because if you do buy the off-brand, don't even hook it up there with that clip, because it sits in here at an angle like this, kind of like where the seam's running. That's the angle it sits in. So when you go to put this thing in, just let it sit on this plastic cover and just shove it up in. It'll already be up in there because you have it hooked to your hoses. You want to have that done first before you go trying to put it in. Make sure you have your hoses hooked to the heater core and your heater core up there before you put this plastic thing on. But do not clip it up there with that clip, because this plastic piece then will not fit in. You need that heater core loose in there to do that. I can't express that enough. That's the whole point of this whole video. If you get nothing else out of it, take that. If you buy the off-brand, that's why I say buy the heater core from GM that fits back in it properly. So that's basically all you have to do. Then you just, this one here, you can put it on with the drill. The other ones, I had a small socket and put them all back on. So, but that's a job in itself, getting underneath it here and getting those put back on. But like I said, if you get nothing else out of this video, make sure you just do it the way I explained, because if you don't, you're going to have a real problem that's going to make you angry. Cussing and throwing things. Like, I didn't do that, but excuse me. But anyway, I wanted to make that video and stress that, so anybody watching this doesn't go through the same frustration that I went through and kind of the trial and error I had to go through to do it. So, but I wanted to explain that. Now, the issue I have here, that white tie down in there, it's kind of holding the hose open, because what was going on with this truck here is they didn't fix the heater core. Obviously, I had to do it, but they put a pair of vice grips, a wide set of vice grips on here and clamped the hoses, and it was on there for years. So when they did that, they kind of collapsed these hoses. The bottom hose is okay. The top one there, it's kind of on a bind. So I think I'm just going to replace this top hose where I put that zip tie on it, just so it's new. Oh, and one more thing, you can see down there, you can see the hoses running in through the firewall connected to the thing there. When you take the old one out, what I did, I just, instead of trying to rip the hoses off the old heater core, and spending probably another hour trying to get those two off, I just cut them. Because my leak was somewhere. It was either the heater core or the hoses connected to the heater core back there, because it was leaking on the frame down here below. I don't know if you can see there. Try to get that down in there. But there, there's the exhaust to the right. It's kind of hard to do this with a flashlight. But the frame right down there was leaking on the frame. But just cut your lines, and then cut your rubber hose off the heater core that's left. And I had plenty of line. It's just this one hose here is kinked, and I got to replace it. But you'll have plenty of line in these old Chevys. I don't know, 87 to 94 or 93 or whatever that is, the K1500s. They changed in 94, I believe, a little bit, but this might be the same deal. I couldn't tell you, but I just cut my lines instead of fighting it for another hour because I had plenty of line there, and reconnecting them because I didn't know if it was the hose or the heater core, and I didn't want to put the old hose back on the new heater core and it leak. So that's what I did. That's another thing you might want to look at when you're doing this. But it's pretty simple to do. Just a couple things, like I said in this video, that you wanna follow. You take lessons from me doing it the hard way, or trying to learn it as I'm doing it. So if you have any questions, please ask. Don't be afraid to ask in the comments, or if you watch this video or whatever, I'll be glad to answer them for you. So, but that's it for this.